want that engagement right away, so we can just, keep these thought-provoking ideas going, right? And if we say something wrong, feel free to step on our toes. That's another thing. So
that's right. That's the point. We're doing this together. There is no other way to do this. It's not like, we're doing it right now. We're doing it live. Yeah. First, we're going to bring on Mr. Douglas Coleman, and super excited about the reality and really getting to understand the significance of a physical relationship. Zoom is fine. It's doing a great job. We're staying connected, but physical conferences are more than just getting out and getting a fresh air, getting drinks with some friends at the happy hour. It's way more than that. We're going to talk about it at 11, just after housekeeping here. We're going to bring Douglas Coleman on. Mr. Coleman.
Yes, good morning, Troy. It's good to see you again.
Yes, likewise, always. Every time we talk, I say there's always something absolutely unique and interesting from Douglas Coleman. Every time. Sir, meet Skippo. Skippo, meet Mr. Douglas Coleman.
Douglas, it's a pleasure. Glad to have you on. Troy's told me wonderful things, and I'm really looking forward to what you got in store for us.
Okay, well, it's nice to meet you, and thanks for having me on your show.
Let me do that. Mr. Coleman, Skippo knows. Give me a minute. I might mess this up. But Douglas Coleman is a geologic engineer from Colorado School of Mines with the purpose of contributing to the responsible and efficient development of Mexico's mineral resources by providing a reliable source of information for mining professionals. He is the general director for the Mexico Mining Center. The Mexico Mining Center provides up-to-date information on everything related to mineral exploration in Mexico. Here you will find a collection of press releases focused exclusively on mining in Mexico, with exploration maps showing more than 1,000 mining properties being developed by over 300 companies across Mexico, including maps and technical information. They are putting on a conference in Guadalajara, Mexico, November 11th through the 13th. This is where the future is being written in the mining industry, in our opinion. Do not miss this event. We are going to go into that at the end of the show. Mr. Coleman, it's an honor, sir.
Yes, well, thanks for having me. Yes, we'll be holding the Discoveries Mining Conference. This will be the 5th year that we've held this one. And that'll be held in Guadalajara this year from November 11th through the 13th. And this is one of the foremost conferences focused on mining exploration and development in all of Latin America. We've got over 50 speakers. The theme of the conference is exploration, innovation, and development. And I remember one time a few years ago, someone told me that everything starts with mining. And I said, you're wrong. It actually starts with exploration. So we're going from the very principal pillars of the mining industry, which would be the exploration, innovation, and development. And
wow.
We have all of the talks will be focused on those 3 themes.
Tell us about your transition from being a graduate from Colorado School of Mines, contributing value to a company for mining and developing resources, to focusing on, I'm going to create the Mexico Mining Center. How did that go?
Well, I'm a geologist by trade, and I've always been very excited about the opportunities in Mexico. So the first opportunity that came my way to go into Mexico, I jumped on it. And actually it was through a drilling company, a small drilling company that came down to do exploration work on a project up in Copper Canyon area. And in fact, I remember I came down in November of 1990, and I hired on with the drilling company to manage the project and to be the go-between between the geologist and the driller, and to kind of organize things in Mexico.
Wow.
And I was up on the property for about 6 weeks. And I finally made it out to where there was a phone booth, and I made a call back to the owner of the drilling company. And he says, well, it's great to hear from you. How's everything going in Mexico? I said, well, it's going fine, but I forgot to ask you one thing. How much am I getting paid for all of this? So I was so enthusiastic. I just jumped on board. I took the job. I went to work, and I was there for a month and a half without even knowing what the paycheck would be.
See, that's a different type of person right there. The last question you asked, what am I getting paid for this? It sounds all good. I'm here. Am I going to get some food?
Yeah, exactly. But
How
it
am I
was
gonna
all
get
fun.
compensated?
It was like you were saying at the start of the show here, you have to love what you do.
Right.
And
Exactly.
so from there, we just kind of, it was a strange transition, but I ended up managing the drilling company. And then I went independent and started my own drilling company in Mexico. And we operated for about
Wow.
13 years with one single drill rig.
Whoa. Worked
Which
that
means,
thing to the bone.
oh, you had to make every project work for you. You cannot, if you had one project where it was a loss, the company would be sunk.
Wow.
Oof.
Look at
There
that.
used to be a saying that there's limits to how much you can make, but there's no limits to what you can lose. So then
Well, yeah.
we went
Ain't that
through
the truth?
the BRIEX crisis right as I started the company. So just forming the company with a newly formed family as well. My son was just born,
Wow.
and we hit the BRIEX crisis where exploration worldwide just dropped to zero. And gold was right around $250 an ounce for around 7 years. And right now,
Whoa.
as we speak, gold's over 2,000, so we're really happy about that.
Forget about those hard times. It's about
Yeah.
now.
Well, we've been waiting for about 20 years to see the boom come back, and it looks like we've got it here now.
That's right.
And we're just keeping our fingers crossed that it will last for some time.
We'll be fine. We'll be fine. So yeah,
And so
let's go.
then, well, to get back to the theme there, we after closing down, I closed down the drilling company in 2008, and looked around and thought about what could I do to really provide a necessary service to the mining community. I saw that there was a real need in the industry for accurate, up-to-date information on what was happening in Mexico. There really wasn't a good place to go. People didn't even have an idea of what companies were operating here. And so the original idea was to form a mining directory. And as I put that together, to do that, I had to look through all of the news releases and technical reports, and it was pretty much collecting information from all sources, from Canada, the States, and Mexico.
Wow.
And as I put all this stuff together, I started saying that there was really making this more of a news type of an outlet seemed to be to meet the needs of the mining community more so than anything else. So we started putting this thing together, and we publishing the press releases focused on Mexico. And eventually we came up with a newsletter. And right now we have over 72,000 subscribers to our newsletter. And we're getting close to 2 million clicks per month on the website.
There we go.
So,
look at those clicks.
No, we've got over 3,000 unique visitors each day to the website.
Wow, man.
So
PBE's got like 3.
Yeah.
Well, it's really making an impact. And I noticed that as we sent out this newsletter with all of the activity that's going on in Mexico, it started catching attention of people from all around the world, and they started coming to Mexico to see
What was
the
going
world of
on?
opportunities that's here. It's just,
Right.
it's incredible.
Man, so your outreach actually was more about people raising the curiosity of them and then going, whoa, there's all this action going on in Mexico I didn't know about before Mexico Mining Center was a publicly available website that was telling me this information. I got money. I want to make money. Let's go see what's going on here.
Yeah. And well, originally I wanted to make it a subscription to get to receive this information, and worked for about 3 years developing a database with all of the properties in Mexico. And
wow.
and going in.
Can you pull it up? The website? Can you walk us through that?
Yes, let me see if I can pull that up real quick here.
Nice, man. Skip, wait till you see this exploration map, dude. He's got all this
I'm
stuff
excited.
geo-referenced. You can dive into all this information. This is
Yes, there you go. You can see that now.
yes, sir.
Yep.
Okay, this is the Mexico Mining Center website. And we've got it divided into what we call the exploration and development section, which is mostly on drill results, different things happening in actual exploration and development. We here have Orla Mining that just recently received their environmental permit to construct the Camino Rojo mine, the gold mine in Zacatecas. And then we also separate out the area, what we call the investors corner, where you have more information on financing, on change in directors, different things like that. As you scroll through here, you can kind of see that. And then we have what we call expert commentary, which is my favorite section. And if you had the time to develop, to sit there and watch the videos that are under the section of expert commentary, I believe you would become an expert on everything related to mining and exploration in Mexico.
Wow.
You can really get
That's
some
awesome.
first person viewpoints of what's happening on the ground here.
Yeah, what a great resource for someone who, like you said, who, has worked abroad all their life and wants to learn more about what's actually going on from the investor side to the geology side. That's pretty awesome tool that's just readily available.
Yeah, then you jump into the exploration map, and this is what took a long time to develop, but it's based on the government information from Mexico. But you come in here, what we did is we color coded all of these different properties depending upon the actual owner of these projects. In the Mexican database, it would be under the original owner. So a lot of times it would be difficult to locate where the different properties are at. Here, if you look at this one over here, you can click on that, and that's La Duraznillo from Juan Carlos Estesaran Nieves, which is a private property owner, actually.
Dang, Skippo, you try to say that like the way he did.
Yes.
Oh, man, that's gonna. You're trying to get me in trouble, aren't you?
We can, let me see here.
Look at that. Wow.
It's just a world of properties across Mexico.
Now, what about, just a quick question, as far as like the date range and activity of this map, is this kind of historical and current, or are you constantly getting rid of the stuff that's moving away and kind of turning off?
It's always a work in progress. We're constantly updating this map. There's updates to it on a daily basis. And we tend to focus on areas where there's hot spots of activity. And if you have a news release with something going on, such as you go down here to Mazatlan, and you can see Vizsla Resources with the new project that came around there with the Panuco project, which is this one right here. And this is actually the first time that this district has been consolidated. And they have over 100 different small concessions. And these have all been put together. And one thing on this exploration map that people tend to not notice, but it's a nice little feature, is you can grab this little guy down here and
Are we going in?
Get a
boots on the ground?
Yeah, you can get boots on the ground. You can actually see your property right there.
What the? Oh, man, it looks so nice.
If you want to go in here and take a look at an outcrop, you can get a closer up view here of some of the rocks.
It's putting us up. What is that? Is that paraluminous? What is that?
So it's a nice little tool. You can go in and see different parts of the project area, and see what you have here. And there you go.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. But one of the things interesting about the new discovery at the Panuco project by Vizsla Resources is there was actually no active exploration going on around Mazatlan, Sinaloa, prior to the Discoveries Mining Conference that we held there last year in 2019. And shortly after the Discoveries Conference, Vizsla announced that they had acquired the Panuco district. And now we have a new company called Brigadier Gold that has a property here now, which is this one right here. This is the Picachos project. And we also have GR Silver Mining, which has picked up some significant ground down here, which is all of this area down in this region. And so we've got we're having a real boom in exploration around Mazatlan now. And the newest discovery is nearly a 4-meter intercept on the Vizsla property, running close to 3 kilos per ton silver and over 100 grams per ton gold, which is over 3 ounces of gold.
Heck yeah.
These are just incredible values, and it's along a major thoroughfare that nearly every geologist in the country has probably driven down at one point or another. It crosses the entire property. In fact, one of the high-grade veins goes underneath a bridge right there.
Wow. Right under our nose.
And 40 minutes from Mazatlan, so you can't beat that.
Man, That's cool. So as far as environmental stuff goes, and this the idea of, okay, you found this, you have this really economically viable and defendable project. Where does it go from there? Just a quick interest, I guess, in Mexico specifically. Do you have to go to the government, or is there an agency that says, hold on, we're looking at the roads, we're looking at the water, we're looking at this environment?
Yes, we have as strict requirements, environmental requirements, as any company in the world, any country in the world. And we go through the what we call SEMARNAT, which is the Environmental Protection Agency, or the equivalent of that in Mexico. And to do any work whatsoever, you have to have a permit from SEMARNAT, which would be a short environmental study, or to do the initial drilling. And then you have to go through the direction of the mines department, Secretary of Mines, to get your concessions. And it's just it's a pretty straightforward process. And in fact, Mexico has one of the best mining laws in the world. So it's foremost, one of the top 10 or top 5 mining countries in the world. Number 1 for silver production, and I think there's number 1 for fluorite as well, of all things. And they also have within the top 10 for about over a dozen different elements. There's a wide variety of properties, a wide variety of tectonic environments. And it's not just all the typical high-grade veins that you see in the Sierra. Vizsla came up with the hot hole with 3 kilos per ton silver. Last week, Silvercrest up in Sonora announced on their Las Chispas property, they had 75 kilos per ton silver equivalent, which is just unbelievable. I mean, that's 7.5% silver.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then we've got new companies like Reina Silver coming in that it's a sort of a spin-off from Mag Silver, and they're going to develop the high-grade silver deposits up in Batopilas. And some of those mines were running grades of 20% on the average of silver.
Sheesh. Wow. So let's get into you designing these conferences and getting you. There's a difference between yours and most conferences. Let's jump into that and then go from there.
Well, what we've done with Discoveries is we've made it into a technical conference. There was a real need in Mexico for a good technical forum where the people involved in the industry that are on the ground developing these properties could actually share their discoveries and share their progress with colleagues. It's a type of networking that's essential to any exploration and development on a countrywide scale, of course. And we put this together, and the quality of the people coming to the conference was just incredible. We were having the presidents, the CEOs, the VPs of exploration, investors, and so we said, well, and these are the key clients for many of the suppliers and contractors in the country. So why don't we just put them together so they can network and do business? So we brought in and made it a combination of a technical conference with an expo. And right now we have about 200 exhibitors at the conference in Guadalajara. And this year we don't expect to have such a high attendance, but normally it would be between 2,000 and 3,000 people attending.
Yeah. Now, quick with the John Mark story, you said, like, what was it, 5 years ago? You have a picture on your website.
Oh, yes. In fact, on the conference website, let me share the screen here with you just a second.
John Mark, previous show at PBE. Check out the YouTube page or our Spotify, iTunes for that podcast. Incredible knowledge about joint venture and setting up the right contracts for success. Really good with John Mark.
Here you go. This is the Discoveries Conference website. And we've got 83 days to the conference. And as you scroll down, we've got different arrangements with these main hotels, which are all walking distance from the convention center. In fact, the Westin is just crossing the street. And then down below here, we've got, here we go, here's John Mark.
There he is.
John Mark is standing in front of his booth in the Core Shack in 2018.
Okay.
And he's there talking to Katie Gibler, who was the VP of Exploration for Mill Rock Resources, and Isaac Burstein, who's the VP of Exploration for Hochschild, a private mining company out of Peru. And so we just happened to have this picture announcing our core shack at the conference, and I got to looking around, and here we go. About a year and a half after this picture was taken, Riverside announced the acquisition of Los Cuarentas project from Millrock. So obviously, Katie Gibler, you'll have to trust me on this. She's got her back to us, but that's Katie.
Right.
And she is obviously involved with that. And then this year, Riverside announces that they option Los Cuarentas to Hochschild.
Right
So
there.
here we go. You have the
2018, joining together, talking about projects.
2019, there was a deal done where Riverside acquired the properties from Millrock. And in 2020, they've optioned one of those properties to Hochschild.
That's what's happening at these conventions. That's why they're so important. That's why we love them. There's real things, real value happening when we get together physically and we start talking to people we kind of knew, cross paths with, slight introduction. Wow, I didn't know that you were working on that project specifically. You fit into this puzzle piece perfectly. Let's do something with this.
Yes, that's right. And, you know, the Mazatlan Commission, we've moved the conference from place to place. In fact, I've even been half jokingly talking to my partners here on this on the organization crew here that we should maybe put in some tents, sort of like a circus, which may not be a bad idea. But, but we moved from Hermosillo to Mazatlan last year.
Okay.
And at the time, we were fairly. We did receive some criticism from some of the people in the mining industry, and they said, "Well, why are you in Mazatlan if there's really not a whole lot of mining activity around there?" But we held the conference there, and people became aware that Sinaloa was a safe place to work, maybe not as dangerous as what they had previously thought. And they started seeing some of the opportunities around the Mazatlan area. And now we have a mini boom going on right around Mazatlan with Vizsla Resources, Brigadier Gold, GR Silver, and other projects in Sinaloa as well, which are starting to pick up. So
I would argue that that's why the future is being written at this convention that's happening in 2020. If you have the ability to be there physically and to now get an idea of what you have to deal with COVID and what you're doing, your team and the city of Guadalajara, from my perspective, is coming together to make this event happen safely and efficiently for everybody involved. Can you have a presentation with some images and some ideas?
Yes, I can show you a little bit of that as well. Let me share my screen once again.
How are you pulling this off in the middle? I'm kind of worried about going to the gas station, let alone a conference. I mean, that's the reality, I think, of a lot of people, maybe except for Stan Keith. He's not worried about anything.
Well, a lot of people are worried about that, but I think it's something that's really worthwhile and it's valuable to do. And
Yes.
here we go. This is inside our conference center here in Guadalajara.
Okay.
This is in Spanish. I'll just talk over it a little bit.
Translate maybe.
Yeah. But he's just inviting everybody to the conference center and showing the new health protocols that are in place to be able to attend these big conventions. And they'll be holding their first major convention on September 1st, which they expect about 3,000 people to attend. And so we'll be looking at that. They're going through a thermographic sensor as they go through here. They can, if somebody has a temperature, they go see a doctor. And
wow.
As you walk into the convention center, you have all of these indications showing the safe social distancing. You go through a sanitation booth.
Look at that. Spray me down.
We probably wouldn't have been able to hold this conference in unless for not well, let me rephrase that. We were fortunate to have the conference in the Expo Guadalajara because this is the largest convention center in Mexico. And it's a very good professional group of people working with event organization there. And as you can see, the first world protocols for security. And this is just some of this is what we're working on.
Yeah.
We've doubled the size of our floor plan so we can spread everything out. We've got a huge conference center or conference hall, and with everything spread out there as well. And let me see here.
Saw that in the video. That video was pretty enlightening as far as how you would look when you walk in and you're seeing, okay, where am I sitting? What a huge area, huge screens. I mean, the audio, the visual, everything that's going into that is incredible.
You know, they've done an impressive job at the Expo Guadalajara. It's the second largest convention center of all Latin America. The largest one, I think, is in Sao Paulo. And they're largest now because they just recently expanded. So I told them at Expo Guadalajara, well, you'll have to expand now. And they said, well, they already have it in their plans.
Oh, wow. Wow. So it's going to be an interesting discovery, if you will, come September. They got 3,000 people coming into that building, dealing with that situation, real life, real data. How is it going? And that's a couple months before your event. That's going to be really good information coming in.
Yeah, they've been doing trial runs for the last 2 months. They've been testing equipment.
Wow.
They've been working on everything, making sure there's no mistakes made, that everything is done correctly. And I believe that we can hold this in a safe manner for all of the conference attendees.
Yeah.
The convention centers work in coordination with the airport authorities, with the hotels, with the restaurants.
Right.
It's the state and federal authorities as well.
Yeah.
So this is really a big combined effort to get past this pandemic.
Yeah.
And
I'm not going to
also,
say,
I mean,
go ahead,
I was
Skip.
going to say, and a lot of it also does come down to the attendees, right? It's
Yes.
you can all put all
Exactly
these
right.
precautions in place, but unless the attendees actually physically follow all of those precautions, right, then they're kind of out the door. But I think
Perfect segue.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are ready to get back to that normalcy of, getting on that expo floor and wheeling and dealing again.
So the conference still is, we're still 3 months from the conference.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So there's a good possibility that things will be much better than we're seeing them today.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And so just to expand on Skip's point, one that I wanted to mention actually in the opening ceremony is that the people I believe that are coming to this event, the people that are pushing forward and actually making things happen and creating work, creating value, it's not immunity. I won't say this is immunity, but I believe these people they have a sense of urgency and they don't have time to get COVID. So they're doing everything they possibly can, keeping it conscious and making sure that, you know what, I can't get sick because I got shit to do. I got a business relying on me. I got a future to build for my family. I have a sense of urgency to actually progress and move things forward. I don't have time for that. So what are the precautions? Great. You tell me that's how I can avoid COVID. I'm locking that in. You can trust me as an individual because I have no interest in being quarantined for 14 days. That would be catastrophic, in my opinion, to me, if I had to go quarantine for 14 days with everything going on. Are you kidding? We can't. You can't do that. So it's not immunity, but I think the individuals that are showing up at this event, those are the types of folks that are walking around and they're making it progress. They're being safe about it. And I'm excited for this conference. I'm excited to hear about it. I kind of want to throw out the idea that PBE Live could fly into Guadalajara, do some podcasting, bring people on stage, do the conference thing. Yeah. Might be a little early, but I'm throwing it out there. What do you think, Mr. Coleman?
I think you're absolutely right about that. It's just we're right at the start of a major boom cycle right now. Mining has always been boom and bust, and we're starting at the very start of a boom. And, over the last 2 months, I've seen a dozen new companies come into the country. Picking up projects, financings are coming through. We're getting financings at a much larger scale than we've had in the past, 2 or 3 times greater than what they were last year. Drilling projects are doubled in size. Right now, even though we're in the monsoon season and the rainy season, as you go further south, you've got the drilling companies at 90% capacity.
Wow.
And so we're looking at some really positive things ahead. We're announcing new discoveries every week. and really just
Yeah.
impressive discoveries. Whereas in other parts of the world, 200, 300 ounces per ton silver, or grams per ton silver, is considered high grade. It doesn't get much of attention here in Mexico unless you're over a kilo per ton.
Wow, geesh. Well, Mr. Coleman, we have a few minutes left. Skips, is there anybody in the audience from You Could Tell that have any specific questions for Mr. Coleman, who's actually pulling this off? Think his headspace is all about keeping safety right now.
Nothing in the chat right now, but if anyone wants to fire anything off, now's the moment.
Yeah, we'll take a couple minutes and we'll segue into ESG. I'll bring in Elizabeth to get ready for her commercial, and then we'll go from there. But if we'll take a couple minutes.
Well, just I find it super interesting right now that all this money is getting poured back into exploration, and now similar to what you're saying, Douglas, is things that were considered high grade, we're finding things that are way beyond that.
Much larger. Yeah.
And then also, I think what also is fascinating, and we saw this similar in the oil space as well, in the petroleum space, is you had that, like you said, this kind of 20-year lag in gold, and you've been waiting for this next boom. And within that period, the innovation that's occurred as far as, more effectively exploring for gold, silver, and copper has just increased. So I thought that those are some great correlations that you made in your talk.
Yeah, well, that's absolutely the case. And it's just really heartening to, putting together a physical conference is fairly unusual at this time. Mm-hmm. And we've been receiving calls every week from people saying, are you actually going to do a physical event? Okay. And I kind of said, well, yes, we are. And they said, well, that's great.
Yeah.
So
it is.
So we're working on this, putting together a good physical event and doing it in the safest way possible.
Right.
And plus, a lot of the people who participate in this conference are older. They're up in the 60s, 70s range. There's a big gap in geologists right now. We have the older generation who's made a lot of discoveries, who's done some very important work in geology. And then there's a big gap where we're just now starting to get the younger people in. The 20 and 30-year-olds are starting to kick in now.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
So we got a non-geo question from the Brian Bottoms. I'm probably gonna botch this pronunciation, so I apologize. But he says Mazian FC or Maracas Morelia or Morelia.
Non-geo question. Mazatlan FC.
Oh, Mazatlan FC. Yeah.
Or Monarcas Morelia.
So are you a fan of the FC team?
I really don't know.
This is a soccer question. This is a sports question.
Brian.
Sorry about that.
That was a great question, Brian.
Might be. He's into that. Well, Mr. Coleman, thank you so much, sir, for joining this event, and thank you so much for putting on this event. We have in November. We are definitely staying tuned in, and we are advocates for the special things that are going to happen at that event. And thank you.
Well, we're really excited about this, and we look forward to seeing you there. And I think it's going to be an excellent conference. And we're just doing everything that we can to make this a good event for everyone, to make it comfortable, to make it effective, to really promote mining in Mexico.